Hi kids, welcome to my house. I'm glad to have you here. I've been hoping that someday I would be able to have you come and that maybe you could do the slip and slide down the hill or ride in the wheelbarrow here at my farmhouse. But today we're just going to visit online. I'd like to share with you our Sunday school lesson in just a minute. And before we do, I want to explain something that's very important. In our Sunday school lesson today, we're going to see how Solomon's poor choices changed the course of the history of his whole country, the country of Israel. And that shows that the things that we do matter. Now, God has a plan for every person, and that plan is called destiny. We've talked about that a little bit before, and how God's plan for each one of us is something that He has prepared for us to do in our lifetime. But we don't know what it is. When we're born, we're just babies, and we couldn't understand what God's plan is for us. So as we grow up, little by little, we learn what it is that we do well and that we like to do. And that is a big clue to help us understand what it is that God wants us to do in our lifetime. I want to show you some pictures here that show how God revealed His destiny to me. This is my magic frame. I'm going to pull up some pictures that I want to show you. All right, let's look at this very first one here. And what is that? It's a baby. Do you know what baby that is? That baby was me many years ago. Did you know that even old people started as babies? That's God's plan. We grow and we change a lot through life. This is what I looked like when I was in kindergarten, about 5 years old, and I was learning my alphabet and my numbers and all the things that kindergartners learn. That was a fun time in life. And then a little bit later, when I was in middle school, now I was able to do many more things because I had learned so many things and gained skills. It was a lot of fun to be able to use my skills. Some of the things I did was make movies, even back then. Here is when I was in college. I was a young adult, going to college, learning how to teach about the Bible and to take care of kids and to do a lot of other things that I like to do. This is getting closer to now. This is when I was teaching in a church, telling kids about Jesus. And this looks a little bit more like what I do today. But even that is different, isn't it? Because we keep changing and changing all the time. I feel like the same on the inside. Now, I didn't know I was going to have a wife. I didn't know I was going to have children with my 2 daughters. I didn't know what our family would be like, or that I'd even have a lazy cat when I was older. That was all part of God's plan for me, though. And I had to find His plan. Just as you will have to find His plan for you too. I'm sure He will have wonderful things in your future. Now let's look at our Sunday school lesson about Solomon, his wives, Rehoboam, and Jeroboam. This lesson that I'm presenting to you would be originally on March 29th of 2020, and it continues our story. We've been following throughout the last year and a half the story of salvation that is presented in the Bible from the time of creation, and right now we've gone all the way up through the kings. First of all, we had King Saul, who was not faithful to God, and so the kingdom passed to King David, who did love God very much and followed His ways as much as possible. And God promised that He would bring the special King of Kings through David's family, so that someone from David's family would always be the king. That, of course, is Jesus, who is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and we will see Him as our King forever and ever in heaven, sitting on the throne of David. David's son, King Solomon, was the wisest man that ever lived because God gave him that very special wisdom, and yet he did not always follow the wisdom. God had told the people of Israel that they were only to marry other Israelites, And yet we've talked about how the kings of those days often would marry women from other countries to make friendships with those other countries. And that's what Solomon did. He married many, many women from other countries. The bad thing that came in, and the reason that God did not want them to intermarry with other nations, was because those other nations would sometimes bring their own beliefs to them. The wives from other countries worshipped other gods. Of course, there is no other God, but they believed that there were other gods. The foreign wives worshipped these other gods, and pretty soon, even King Solomon worshipped them. And of course, they taught their children to do the same. This displeased God very much, and so he told Solomon that because Solomon had done this, he was going to take the kingdom away from Solomon. But it would not happen during Solomon's lifetime. It would happen when Solomon's son grew up and became the king. When Solomon died, his son Rehoboam became king. The people said to Rehoboam, "Your father forced us to work very hard. Now make it easier for us. Stop the heavy work that your father forced us to do, and we will serve you." Rehoboam answered, "Come back to me in 3 days, and I will answer you." So the people left. There were some older men who had helped Solomon make decisions when he was alive, so King Rehoboam asked these men what he should do. He said, "How do you think I should answer the people?" They answered, "If you are like a servant to them today, they will sincerely serve you. If you speak kindly to them, they will always work for you." But Rehoboam did not listen to the advice from the older men. He asked the young men who were his friends, "How do you think I should answer them? What should I tell them?" Then the young men who grew up with him answered, "Those people came to you and said, 'Your father forced us to work very hard. Now make our work easier.' So you should tell them, 'My little finger is stronger than my father's whole body. My father forced you to work hard, but I will make you work much harder. My father punished you with whips, but I will punish you with whips that have sharp metal tips." 3 days later, Jeroboam and all the people came back as Rehoboam had said. King Rehoboam did not listen to the advice from the older men, and he was rude to the people. He did what his friends told him to do and said, "My father forced you to work hard, but I will make you work much harder. My father punished you with whips, but I will punish you with whips that have sharp metal tips." This was not the way to make friends or influence people. So the king did not do what the people wanted. The Lord caused this to happen. The Israelites saw that the new king refused to listen to them, so they said to him, "We are not part of David's family, are we? We don't get any of Jesse's land, do we? So people of Israel, let's go home, and let David's son rule his own people." So the Israelites went home. But Rehoboam still ruled over the Israelites who lived in the cities of Judah. This made a terrible split in the country. The whole country split in two, so that there were 2 countries, one in the north and one in the south. The south country was what was left of David's kingdom. It was called Judah, and it was still ruled by Rehoboam and the few people who wanted to follow him. The northern kingdom, which was most of the country, became ruled by another man named Jeroboam. He ruled that whole upper northern kingdom of Israel, while Rehoboam ruled the southern kingdom of Judah. So it's Jeroboam and Rehoboam in Israel and in Judah. And the country would remain divided for a very long time. It would even stop being a country for 2,000 years. And then by God's miraculous power, he fulfilled his prophecy and brought the country together again. There's a project that you can help with even while you're at home. What I have here in my hand are some index cards. Most people have these at their home, and if you don't have it, that's okay. You can use paper too. We're going to ask the kids of Asbury and their friends to draw on these cards, one drawing on each card, and to mail them to us at Asbury United Methodist Church so that we can give them to the people who are homeless. We're going to prepare some lunches for them, just like we do on Asbury Day. And these pictures that you draw will be put into the bags so that every bag will have a drawing from a child so that they'll know that somebody is thinking about them. Because this is a tough time for everybody, but it's especially tough if you don't have a place to live. So we would like it, if you would do that, to please make a drawing. Now what I'm going to do, I don't have crayons at my house, so I'm going to take some colored pencils. Markers would also work. Anything that you have at home would be fine. You can draw anything. It really doesn't matter what you draw. You could draw yourself, you could draw your family. I think I'm going to draw my cat who is sleeping in the chair. And let's see if I can get something that looks like Gus. Gus is our big cat. He's been with us for quite a long time. And Gus is not a real active cat, except when it's dinner time. Then Gus likes to come out and get his food, and he lets us know when it's time for food, because that's something he never misses. Now it looks like, did you know that when you make drawings, really all you're doing is you're finding the lines. Look at whatever you're looking at and see where are the lines, and try to make them on your paper. Gus is a gray cat, gray and white. And it doesn't matter if you can't draw that well. Anything that you make is going to be special. And those people, the homeless people, they're going to be happy that somebody was thinking of them. Shade it a little bit, trying to show where some of these shadows are and where is he lighter and where is he darker. That's his tail. Can you tell the difference between his tail and his feet? He is sitting on a chair, sleeping on a chair, I should say. Once again, I'm looking at which way the lines are going. I'm trying to make those lines on my paper the same lines. Can you tell that's a cat? First, here's my drawing. Drawing of the kitty sleeping in the chair. And there's the real thing. That's the real Gus, and he's sleeping in a chair over there. So can you do that? Make up some drawings of your own and put them on index cards. Then mom or dad or somebody could help you to fill out the envelope to Asbury United Methodist Church. And then maybe mom or dad would let you put the stamp on the envelope, and then they could send it out in the mail. We'll get it at Asbury, and we'll give it to the lady who helps the homeless people, and she'll make sure that every bag has got one of your drawings in them. Thank you. If you can help us with that, we sure appreciate that. And now I want to talk to you about something else. I've got my puzzle here of Europe. It's a map of Europe. And some of you put this together at our last Asbury Day, but some of you might not have ever seen it before. Let me put some of this together, and then I want to talk about one special place here in Europe. I'm going to speed this up because I know it's not real interesting to watch someone make a puzzle. We'll make it go as fast as possible. And the best way when you're making a puzzle is to find the edges, all the smooth things, because you know that's the outside of the puzzle. Once you get the outside together, then the inside is much easier to put together. Okay, now I want to put in my last piece. The United Kingdom, which is really England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. And I'm putting this in here now because I want to tell you about a time when I got to go on a mission trip to the United Kingdom. Let's see if I can turn this better so you can see it. Yeah, that's a little more clear. This is the city of London in England, the capital of that country. And we flew there for a mission trip. Now, when I say we, I'm talking about the young adults at the church where I was for a long time. Now, I had known a lot of these young adults since they were 5 years old. So in a sense, you could say we almost grew up together in our faith in Jesus. And we wanted to do something very special. We wanted to share our faith in Jesus with other people. So we planned and we worked and we saved money and we did fundraisers until finally we were able to get on an airplane to go over to Europe. We were finally ready to go, and we were very excited. The flight to Europe is a very long one because you have to go across the ocean. But we were so excited when we finally landed in London, which is one of the biggest cities I've ever seen. We stayed in the south of England at a place called Fox Lane, which was a beautiful resort area with very old buildings. And now we were just about ready to begin our adventure. But we don't have enough time to talk about that this week. Next week, I'll talk more about what happened in England. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed our time together. I wish I could spend time with you. But in the meantime, we can draw on some of those index cards and send them into Asbury so that we can cheer up the people who are homeless right now. And then again, maybe next week, we'll get together to do some more Sunday school time. Take care.